executive session at 7:18.
Okay, that was good.
Yeah. Public Works update.
Okay, now a lot going on, mowing, keeping things going little by little.
Question on the mowing.
What?
Have you mowed down over on the new, water retention area that, no? Have you done along
In
there?
Brantford?
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, down in front of the school there.
Oh, yeah, we did that.
And it looks like it's coming in nice.
Yep.
And
Yes.
same for you.
Yep, and we mow where the water main, we never mowed that before by town since.
Yep.
We've never mowed that before, but since it's been seeded and everything, now we mow
Is
it.
that coming in nice?
Yep,
Yeah.
and then it's an easy way for us to shoot over to
Yeah.
Rampart and do the bike tanks and all that stuff, so.
Yep.
So, yeah, no way all the way things coming in.
Okay.
So now there's a couple things,
Hold on, what'd you ask, Steve?
I said it looks beautiful down there.
It really does.
yeah, it does, now you can shoot across the low spot, to get to the other side without having to drive around. So that kind of worked out for that.
Okay.
Couple things that I've just been doing, fall season is about done. They got a week and a half, which is always fun for me, so I don't have to deal with the stripe anymore. But just kind of looking at it, I know with the settlement agreement, we're going to get funds that are dedicated, that were in the settlement, that were going to be for Parks and Rec and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Couple of things that I've been looking at, just. I mean, been looking at it for years, that it should be done.
Yeah.
One of the things that, I was looking at is maybe putting concrete. We're we're eventually getting aluminum bleachers, but starting with the concrete, around the
Underneath.
on both fields and stuff.
Completely
like that.
underneath them? To
Yeah,
support
so
the weight?
we have it, so then the bleachers we have can go on that, and then if people have their chairs, they can sit on that. That way we can tie in the north or the first baseline on the west field. That dugout wouldn't have access since that's such a downhill, but you could concrete it all the way around the backstop, tie it into the other dugout, and then you can just tie it all right into the.
Similar like what Garrettson has.
Yeah, it is. It's just trying to upgrade and all that. Same thing on the east diamond would be, you can do a lot more there because there's a lot more level area. That way, then you can put a sidewalk that ties into the concession stand sidewalk. Then you can go through the hood and then you can see the shelter there, then we're making everything kind of ADA compliant. We'll have to, everything that way.
Yeah.
But it's just one of the things I thought of, and then reaching out. I know there's Zach Utek, Cody Sunderman on concrete.
Local.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any more. I know there's Sheldon, he lives south of town. I think he's retiring from it. But I mean, I was just gonna reach out to a couple of the local guys for, bids, not
Sure.
knowing what the price is, just to kind of get things started.
Get an idea.
Since we're getting funding going,
Yeah.
with that, let's see. Also looking at maybe reaching out to like Michael Spencer or American Fence, because I would like to put gates on the ball fields. Right next to, like, it would be the first base dugout on the east diamond, and it'd be the third dugout. So you're not having to go through the, outfield, wouldn't have to use that
Oh,
or that kind of like that.
Sure.
And eventually what I would like to do, is going to take, is to do the whole, get rid of the grass strip around the back sides of the backstop and all that,
Yeah.
and just make it all like the line. So it's gonna be like a Sioux Falls ball field. It's gonna be like everybody's, so you don't have that maintenance there. And then that way, when we're going in and out with the equipment, you're on Hagerline, you're not running up the grass and stuff like that. So that's something that I'd look to do the gates this year, so then. Cause it's gonna be the next thing that I'm gonna is we need some more acre line on those fields, so I'd like to order some acre line. But it's expensive. 2 years ago, we spent $3,600 on 2 loads. It's probably gonna be close to, I'd like 4 loads, but it's gonna be close to $10,000. But we have not really added acre line to the fields for a long time.
Are you thinking like, after we get our money in for that?
Well, I'm
Or do you
going to
want
start using the budget. The money's going to be coming.
Okay.
So I mean, it's there. We're going to, I think part of the settlement agreement was an initial 150,000 rates. I think, I can't remember. That's good.
Yeah.
But I know then there's also, that can be used for whatever in the city, but then there's 100 or the one, let me go back because I'm not getting this. That would communicate directly.
The nice thing about that, so that work is the maintenance Especially if there's bleachers so cheap.
You know, and all the things in the parks, the ball fields probably get the most used of everything. And they get used like crazy. Well, the new school program too. I mean, yeah, it's just,
Yeah, so we're gonna get 250,000 over the next 10 years. The first 100,000 will be 25 per year. And then 150 over years 6 or 6 through 10, or 5, 6 through 10 would be 150, and that's dedicated directly to the ball fields. So I mean, we can use whatever, if we want to use all 250 for the parks, because I mean, we're looking at different things for the park upgrades. So we might just dedicate it all to parks, but then we do have that money. Last year, we already received a $25,000 check that was set aside. So we would be probably receiving another $25,000 check. We'd also.
yeah, I forget we've already got some of the money.
And we'll receive the 235,000 payment. That was a one lump sum, I think. So we're going to get from the settlement agreement, once everything's finalized, funding that we can use. We just have to do a supplemental appropriation later in the year to cover where we're transferring some of that money to. But it's just with ball season being done.
Yeah.
Getting these things started.
Now it's time to do it.
Everyone will know that once school softball starts and the weather is not as greatest. So,
Usually the very end of March is when we play our first game.
yes.
This is, in practice, start in the middle of March.
Right, where do lighting those fields?
It's never gonna stop that.
Priorities.
That's the next thing on my list. Is,
He's building up.
yeah, I'm doing the cheap stuff first.
Because
So,
with the season starting so early, you really don't have a whole lot of time
Yeah,
on those fields with no lights.
in what a lot of school districts don't have lights on their softball fields, so everybody starts at 5 o'clock. So the ones that get the least amount of time are the JV squads. They play varsity at 4, so they get their games done with plenty of daylight. It's just JVs might get 5 innings, they might get 3 innings, or they might, complete a game and find people.
Even in a-
So that's it. So that is where my next point goes to is maybe, with Edward's help is probably maybe start talking to the school, because I brought it up for maybe we should look at adding a third field up there. But then I think this would be a conjunction possibly with the school district.
So-
Because I think at that point is we would dedicate a field that is always going to be the Bulldog field for softball, that they have priority from March until their season's done. Then nobody.
you're not required to go shifting the other 2 fields at all to do.
No, that would be doing that west field, making it smaller so we can add another.
Would that affect any of this concrete work we're talking about?
No,
Okay.
no, because this is the outfield.
Okay,
So if you've been out there, the temporary fence, that would be where the future fence would be right in that area.
Okay.
So it would just make that field shorter. It'd make it 2 softball fields.
what all would have to be moved up there? Supposed to be the disc golf stuff. Is
Disc golf, a shelter,
Is there a pathway in it?
no,
No?
it would be in between that. So there's a shelter.
The shelter that's on the west side.
One, of them, yeah,
Yeah.
because there's the far one on. So.
Yeah.
Isn't the leveling what's gonna be the big challenge?
The what?
The leveling of the land.
Correct. You just regrade, you put a different grade. So that
Any estimates on that? Any estimates?
$250,000.
I was gonna say, I'm like, just throw a
I
number
didn't say for a lot of them, they built theirs, it was $250,000.
for the field.
Yeah, but the dirt work was already done, so that's
Sure.
part of it, so.
Moved.
Yeah.
So we're 250 ballpark plus dirt work,
We have some.
plus relocation of,
And then that's no scoreboard, that's no lights,
Right.
that's no,
and that's not moving that the shelter, that's not, yeah,
so it would be a huge cost.
500,000.
And that's where we're trying to maybe possibly work with the school, because that's where the lights come into. I mean, this little stuff is there, but then it was always one of the things are we going to make a third field? Because then we'd have to set up the lights. We won't want to install lights until we get that figured out. Are we going to do a third field or are we going to do 2 fields? We could do the east diamond and put lights up there, but it's
Better to just do the whole project.
because I think utilization of some holes would be for both fields.
I was on approval of gates. So.
You're
I
good.
stopped
So
at
that, you went from like 10,000 to 500,000.
Got that. Whole my list and like a little star next to it. Next to it.
four hinges for metal gates.
We were doing the same thing with the transportation, because should do 80-20 on the school is 80-20.
Is there some paperwork you guys want to submit for us? Yeah. Submit some paperwork, you take a run at that.
So that, a lot of that is like the little stuff that I'm doing up front is utilizing some of those funds that we're gonna get from that settlement agreement, but it doesn't basically be there, so. But that's it, so that's kind of just a heads up, but you not to pack the.
Yeah.
Contractors.
Well, and that aggregate sounds like we need to get that going now, probably, right?
Yeah. It all depends because they'll bring it in, and that's it, that's why.
We've got money in the budget or even for some of that already.
We
Yeah.
do have money there, I just want to make sure we have it okay, because it is a huge expense right now. And still, and we might not even use what we have budgeted, but we might not even use any of that settlement agreement money, it's just getting this stuff lined up, so like the
Do you want
gates.
to make a motion for that?
Yeah,
Well, we don't have to, because I'll get numbers,
Numbers first
yeah,
on the Agri line though?
on everything. The acre line is, if you want to say, if you four loads, if you don't want me to exceed $10,000.
yeah,
I
let's
mean,
do that.
it was,
Just get that
it
done.
was $3,600 2 years ago for 2 loads, that was 50 ton. So I'm looking at 100 ton. So I'm thinking, you know, if it was 7,200, if it doubled, I'm not sure what the trucking was 2 years ago, if it's comparable. But that's the huge
I
cost.
mean, if it exceeds 10,000, we make that motion, just
We could always change it.
Right, yeah, let's go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll make it.
Yeah, we'll make a motion to approve
Yeah, I don't know.
$10,000 for 4 loads of Agri line.
Okay.
Second. I'll second it.
Awesome.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. All right.
Yeah, the concrete, I mean, we get them just the gates on the ball fields, they're kind of all those would coincide, so I don't have to drive through the outfields because it makes a mess. And I was gonna look at doing one at River Park because it is a pain to try to get to that far gate. River Park is way more connected than those two fields, so there isn't the erosion that we have. So a lot of that is like a water bucket every year would do a lot to that one.
Okay.
So I mean, it's just keeping that one maintained so it doesn't get too far behind.
Talking erosion, then if you're bringing in Agri-Line now, are you gonna spread it now? Or are you gonna wait till spring and spread it and just target this fall? So that you get in before next year's price
It
increase?
would, yeah, I bring it in and it would all depend on moisture. If it's a dry year like last, I can dry it out into that and then I just pile it onto the fields. Because spring is a horrible time, just if, like when we get, when it's so wet, we can't even get our, I wouldn't want to take our skid loader out there.
Right,
Because
up everything.
it would, yeah, it would do, so I would have to spread it, and if it's dry enough, I could probably spread it in the winter. And then, but then that's when it is like some moisture in it, so then it hopefully it binds and it freezes, so it
You
doesn't.
want it to set up?
That's what I would look for, yeah. So we would get it, we put it on the fields, drag it out, get it set, and then hope for the best that it has enough moisture that it doesn't get too much. So,
Got a question for you.
okay,
What do you think about the dump site out here?
nope, that was on my list, the whole site. We've been having a lot of. It's getting those that we have to, I mean, it's different things. I think some is coming from outside the community. A lot of times we see vehicles heading west out of town.
Yeah.
I think there is a lot of tree services that now use our facility because it's not locked. They don't have to pay any charges. So it's getting to a point, I don't know if we always bring it up that this is the whole thing. We get garbage bags out there. We get people that load up their truck with whatever and they clean out their box at the same time as they're dumping out the branches. It's getting to be a pain because they're not separating the composting from their branches. They're getting really lazy out there. So it's getting to be a problem. They're bringing out posts, they're bringing out construction lumber, nails and stuff like that. We don't want any of that stuff out there. So I'm about to the point to just recommend that we just quote it, because I mean, I'm getting, someone's ripping out all their landscaping and then just dumping it out there and stuff like that. Not the dirt, the branches, they're not separating their stuff. So it's getting to be an old process that we.
Is it something where we should just offer it a couple days a week?
Well, that's it, you have to control it, so like Del Rapids, Colton, they have, it's a locked facility. They usually have, Del Rapids has someone that goes out there and mans. So when they go and there's someone there.
We
that-
don't obviously have that.
Yeah, and then they charge for it.
Yeah.
Mine is if it is, we open it up, we could lock it down, open it up. Or we can keep it locked up and then we make them stop in the office and get a key to go unlock it while they're down there. It's a pain, but it's getting to be so much trash out there that it's turning into a mess. And I know it's easy since it's a big area out there that people start dumping their piles all the way across, but there is a compost pile that is black dirt. Well, I don't need all the new grass clippings over by that pile, when the other pile is all the grass clippings that we've been mulching this year. But people just do it, and it does not, we have equipment that can do it, but it's just getting old. What really is we try to make a good compost, but there is so much garbage and tree, I mean, branches, logs, I mean, they just.
Saturday, I was.
Is it abuse or is it not people not understanding? Or
I
probably-
think
Because there's a sign that says, it's pretty
Yeah,
much
pretty
the
good.
same, you have composting and you have your branches, so.
Yeah.
Saturday, I found a cooler with some old beer in
Oh,
it
geez.
out there.
Yeah. So.
Lacey was at yours.
Yeah, right, right. How does it feel?
Well, they're like pretty much.
What's your preferred solution?
I would say the preferred solution is we get audited by the state as part of our Department of Ag. If they go out there and they see that stuff, we get paid for it. And then they eventually could fine us. But a lot of the times they let us, allow us to clean it up and stuff, and they know that stuff. Preferred it is, to me, if it keeps going like that, is that it's an emergency use only. If we have a tree storm coming down, we would use it. We barricade it, we put Jersey weeds up and shut it down. Because if people don't want to respect it, they don't need to use it. And then, I mean, for a lot of citizens, it's going to upset, but,
Right. I mean, it is a nice,
and I've always said to citizens that are out there, if you see another citizen doing it,
police it.
yeah.
Trouble is, I don't know who all these people in town are.
Correct.
That's the
But
problem.
but that's it. If they're doing something that's not supposed to be there, just say, pick it up. I mean,
Or grab their license plate?
Mhm.
the hard thing is like, since it's public ground, they won't.
And there was a guy out there that night that I was out there, and he pulled out and went west.
Yeah.
And towards
A lot of them think that like at the other trailer for Coachman, that, oh, this is, we're part of Baltic, so we can use that stuff. A lot of, there is a lot of nice acreage around that they use it also. Because they don't want to do anything on their farm.
Maybe it should be gated and like you say, keep it. The problem with that is a lot of people.
Evenings, weekends.
Get in there on Saturday.
Correct.
So then.
Correct. And that's-
The city hall isn't open.
A lot of the times this is the time weekends when they,
Well, that's, if they were ever go to a gate, I would say a Saturday, having it open all day on a Saturday would be the best.
but that's the way the police said, it'll be all the junk.
And it's currently not gated.
No, I would think there'd be enough traffic at that point if it was only with that optional time.
But it's hard for a citizen to police another citizen.
I think regardless, I think both of the solutions or paths that I think we're going down involve it being gated, whether it's gated and then locked up most of the time and then unlocked, or gated and only open during emergencies. Regardless, it sounds like we're headed down the path of potentially getting a gate. So
Right.
I think we should get a quote for that, and then we can find out more.
Yeah.
Because then at least we could go into the next meeting with that number, and then if it's continuing to happen for another month.
Yeah.
Now we've got that information as well, and hopefully a quote.
And that's what else do you want to spend on? Because we can put,
We could chain it.
we could put.
It needs to be whatever it is.
We can put, I mean, all, Del Rapids and Fulton, they just have barbed wire fence around it with a suit gate. That,
We have an ordinance against barbed wire fence.
In city
In
limits.
city limits.
where that is in city limits.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, yeah.
residential.
Well,
Yeah.
wait a minute. Would like the west side of that be outside on the edge
No,
of the
it's all, that's all state.
city?
Why don't we just get some quotes on different types? And then,
And if we wanted to shut it down temporarily, we could go buy Jersey, so they're pretty cheap for them, or to do those two.
What's that?
Well,
Concrete
you know,
blocks.
the thing is with that though, I bet you if you shut it down for a month, then really open a few eyes.
Mhm.
And they'd say, whoa, I wish we wouldn't have done that.
But then you've got some entitled people, you put your barrier things up like you're talking, I'll just drive it this side of the barrier.
Well, that's, we already, I mean, we talked with the elevator about
Yeah, they would,
hiding cameras. We will have cameras.
Right.
if we did them on this road going in, then all of a sudden they'd be cutting across the elevator's property.
Well, we would have the whole thing. It'd have to be North Street though.
Yeah, get some trail cams.
So I mean, that's it. I mean, we can let it go for a little bit. I can get quotes and see if the word. I can at least put it in this. Yeah.
I think the cameras, because if nothing else, if they're driving on with the tree service truck, you're gonna be able to identify
Well,
that service.
those,
Stop them.
those things are, and then we have to decide if we ask our payment, if we can publicly stream someone, if we catch them dumping it and
Just put something in there, you know.
It's text message service too, like.
you know, if someone dumps, there we go, like they, we didn't put the gate up, they don't dump that.
Using it.
Are we allowed to show someone? Yeah, I think so, but I don't know.
Abusing it.
But, if people do
For people
forget,
that don't.
shut down, they gotta go to the county now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I would, garbage and work, that is a recycling factor for garbage. They do pick up yard things as
So you
recycling.
can put it on the curb.
They don't, do they have an extra bin for that? A different bin?
I don't know, they usually come here and then they dump what they collect at the
Ah.
facility.
Okay.
And it's a mix too, so we know when they go too.
So is that part of their contract?
Well, they're dumping here?
That we allow them?
No, they just pick up from a couple of local farms.
Okay,
But that's an agreement we've had with them, that they're able to do that. They used to actually take a lot of waste, load up and take it from here.
Okay.
Until the city or regional never then took that away from us from us. So yeah, I think we'll put it in the paper, we'll.
Chad there, Dick.
We obviously have a problem. We have a solution, but this solution is gonna have, there's 2 days that probably, I was very able to say 75% of its use is on the weekend.
Yeah.
How do you control that? Someone has to be able to give people access.
Yeah.
And Saturday and Sundays,
Looking for money, looking for a job.
you have a phone number.
Oh, yeah.
The member takes the key and says, if you're gonna use it, you call me.
Yeah.
If you're not,
Get it.
it goes to the mail. I know the weekend is I'll be honest, in other times, you see, like every time I use it on the weekend.
Oh, yeah, me too.
It is.
Also did like a lot, so the
That's
code,
what I thought.
and then you can put a camera by it.
You know, it
At least
used to
be
be
the.
that they had to stop in here and get a key, and that was bad.
But then we'll see it out as a whatever, right?
Yeah.
So then it goes to the facilities.
Yeah.
Well, it sure was nice. David Bowe today and drove right down and got it.
You know, reaches it and then so.
Laying in the back of my garage.
And that's like way more than what it actually costs.
Well, you know, there's things too.
Your things during
During, during.
where you can actually walk through the gate, where it would be an inconvenience, but you can walk through it and then don't, you know.
There's like residuals on closing it down too. That's when more things started ending up in the ditches.
Say that again?
There's a negative on a shutting down type of thing, because then you will see it. I think more things will end up in the ditches on the edge of town.
But like he just said,
It does
They
happen.
are big, it is a benefit because it makes it easy for people to take care of.
Right.
like he just said, it'd be nice to, if during the week they get the key from us, and then on the weekends, there's a lockbox out there with a code and a camera on it, and they can get the code from the office. If they don't bring it back, we're gonna have it on camera who took the key last.
You charge them a fine.
Well, that for sure stopped me out of town.
The hard part is, and with like key is, if someone takes it, oh, I forgot to bring it. Found these and then it's passive. I mean, there'd be a camera there so you can see that. That's what
I
happens.
mean, purely be over the weekend. I mean, if someone comes and takes it and then doesn't return it. They get a bill and then no one has access that weekend.
Take a look at the setup down at the community garden for our watering key. It's a code access, and you take your T key out and you put it back in that box and just close it, same trip. So we, as far as I know, wouldn't get anybody not returning key, or not, leave with.
No. So mainly it's people, at least your neighbors, I know you like, nobody likes to do it, but
Thank you, please make your return.
to kind of get after them. Do you know that someone's dumping something that's not supposed to be there, just tell them, pick it up. Yeah.
Well, I picked up those stuff on Saturday that I saw that just been there, so.
And we have.
Forget you drive off.
It's great that you guys all help us. We usually the last 2 weeks, we've had about full dumpster, a full big dumpster.
Wow,
Really?
Of stuff that we're picking up there.
well, that is,
crazy.
that is a lot.
Well, I hate to say it, but I think that's just laziness. Is what that is. If you can't throw it in your own dumpster, then
Well, they're throwing coolers and beer cans down there. Whoever's doing that knows they're not supposed to be doing it.
well, I think this cooler's been sitting in somebody's garage or something for a long time. Says it's really, but it doesn't leak. I checked that out.
That's all I got.
So you're looking for anywhere from 10,000 to $500,000.
Okay,
Christmas coming up.
okay then.
Finance update.
Okay, I just have one quick thing on the finance update. I was just gonna let everybody know that we were normally making about $3 a month on interest, and since we switched that, this last month, we got about $435 in interest. So,
Thank you, Edward.
huge
Yeah,
difference.
absolutely. Thanks, Edward.
Yeah.
That's huge.
He's hooking up with that.
Yeah, one more.
That was good. That was good.
Be early. Yeah.
And for the community relations update, I've got just a couple things on that. I had kind of talked to Ryan about this before, but they would like to do a kids activity for, the theme is like, there's no place like home, Wizard of Oz type theme. They want to do, there's this concoction, what was it, cornstarch and food coloring where they can paint St. Olaf. Yeah.
It's not. Like lunch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they want to paint St. Olaf yellow for the parade so that we have like a yellow brick road. So I just needed permission and he thought that would be fine.
Do we need to do, have we got everything set for street closures and stuff like that for that?
Not yet. That'll be at the July meeting. We'll approve all that and I'll have that already.
Did we approve street closures for like those
Yes.
activities, right? Already?
Or what?
Last meeting, for the ones that have the fireworks.
Yep.
shows?
Yeah.
I was-
Yeah.
There's only
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yes. The other thing, she wanted to just ask that we do some mosquito spraying, especially down by the community garden before dog days, because we're gonna have that movie in the park.
That's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
It'll be sprayed.
perfect.
You're pretty good this year. I've not been.
No, I might spray tomorrow. I haven't got the content from the county or from the city of Sioux Falls yet for what our trend is. But I might spray tomorrow, weather contingent.
I just haven't, haven't seen terror this year yet.
I
How
think,
much water we got?
Right. Maybe they drowned.
Ryan's doing.
Sally had asked about a ribbon cutting for the community garden, but I think I'll talk to Zach Nevin on that. The BADF usually does those,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so that's all I have for the community relations.
Is that,
And Lacey, wasn't she thinking that might actually happen on Sunday of dog days?
that'd be fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've got, you
Do
know,
we need to make a motion for the sale lot?
Do we need to paint this? No, okay. I just wanted to make sure it's okay, but from what it sounds like, the first rain will wash out.
Yeah, really, the only concern is you're not worried about the cleanup.
I don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Mother Nature will do it, just like all the mothers in the
But we do
world.
need to, we will need to make sure we get a list of
On all the
events and all the road
Yep.
closures and stuff for next month, so we'll be for that.
Yep.
I just hate to have that come back into a special meeting.
No, yeah, we don't wanna do that. Cool. May is not here for legal updates. Do you guys have any updates?
Any news from the fire department? July 4th coming up, any suggestions, advice?
My husband just asked, my husband just asked if he's too old, and I said, oh, I don't know if you have to pass like a physical.
I've got,
They just
I got one for you. I'll send
Are you retiring some or what? What are you retiring a few out or what? Yeah. Just not enough action?
You're gonna have to run a volunteer game.
People like Dory Falls and.
I don't think I could handle it. I don't think I could do it. I'm too soft.
Can you pick and choose? I don't want the gory ones.
Like, there's other jobs to do, I mean, you can't have everybody.
driving the truck with the kindergarten kids.
There you go. I can do water wars.
That's probably coming.
Can't just do the fun stuff.
Darn it.
And then there's fire school. You would like fire school.
Yeah, they just had a big one on fire.
That's a pretty big deal.
Did you have some guys up there?
No, I was in Missouri. Usually south.
Otherwise, I don't have anything else.
Nothing for the mayor.
You guys know?
7:48.
So,
Motion to adjourn.
yeah,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned.
Good night, Steve.
Steve.
Yeah.
Where's that paper to sign there?
Right here.
You have the checks, please.